Am I the asshole for refusing to talk to my mom after she gave my stepsister my wedding fund? My stepsister was going to get married this summer, but due to COVID she had to postpone. Unfortunately, she ended up losing a lot of her deposits and now her budget is less than half of what it used to be. She also has to buy a new dress, bridesmaids outfits, because she's now decided to have a winter wedding instead. I am also engaged, but we're still in the early stages of planning and recently decided to try to figure out what our potential budget would look like. My mom and stepdad have saved wedding funds for each of us, which are $10,000 each. This is money we've always known we'd receive for our weddings, and my siblings have already all received theirs. I was FaceTiming my mom and she asked me about the wedding planning, and I mentioned that my fiancé and I had opened a separate bank account for our wedding funds. I asked her if she could directly transfer the wedding fund into it when she was free, and she started acting weird and avoided the question and changed the subject. I got upset and asked her again, and she told me that they couldn't help with the wedding. I asked her what she meant, and she admitted my stepdad had given the money to my stepsister. I asked her why he would do that, and she mentioned how my stepsister had lost so much of her original budget due to the pandemic and she would have to dramatically downsize her wedding. She came to them and begged to have my wedding fund, and my stepdad agreed, as my stepsister and her fiancé both work low-paying jobs and wouldn't be able to save the money up themselves in time. My stepdad's justification is that my fiancé comes from a filthy rich, his words, family, and that his family could make up the difference for what they would no longer be contributing. Apparently, he made a nasty joke about how fiancé's dad was going to throw money at our wedding anyways and that maybe they should ask him to pay for stepsisters too. I was upset and so I ended the call. My mom has been calling me non-stop since and has even asked my other sister to call me and tell me to answer her calls. When I told my sister what happened, she was angry but not surprised because my stepdad has done similar things in the past, e.g. given part of my college fund to this same stepsister because she wasted her monthly allowance partying. My mom and stepdad have also sent me texts telling I have no right to be upset over what they chose to do with their money. My stepdad even said that since I'm so petty he's glad he never gave me a cent for my wedding. The more I calm down, I'm starting to wonder if I am being a childish asshole. It's not like I've booked anything yet and now we'll have to change plans. My dad also contributed to my sister's wedding and I'm sure he'll offer to do the same for me. But then the other part of me wonders if had it been my stepbrother's wedding fund, would my stepdad be so quick to give it to my stepsister? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It sucks that your sister's wedding didn't work out as planned, but it's not fair to punish you to make it. Even, you were promised $10,000 towards your wedding and the gift is being stolen from you in the same way your college fund was stolen. She doesn't have to buy new dresses. She could wait until next summer or ask her wedding party to find a mutual color in their closets. She's wasting money that she shouldn't have in the first place. Not the asshole. Those jokes your stepdad was making are disgusting, and you're absolutely right that he definitely wouldn't have given his son's fund to his daughter. Let's say your future in-laws decide not to contribute to your wedding, then what? Your mom is an asshole for not telling your stepdad no when he gave your fund away. That's partly her money too. Also, they never should have told you about the wedding fund if they didn't plan to follow through. I'm gonna say not the asshole. You were basically promised this money. All your other siblings were given this money, so your parents taking this money back, while within their rights, without even talking to you first, was definitely a dick move. Not the asshole. This sucks on so many levels. I hate that your stepdad gaslighted you and almost immediately blamed you for his shitty behavior to defend his actions. Would you consider not inviting them, or at least your stepdad and stepsister, to your wedding that they clearly have little value for? And #X200B. I almost feel sorry for your mom who seems to be stuck between a rock and a hard place, but you've pointed out that your step-family has a long history of pulling this kind of shit, and it's very why that she hasn't stood up for you guys and let this happen to her own kids. I hope you'll post an update after you've had an amazing wedding. Congratulations on your engagement. Not the asshole. Your stepdad is technically correct, you aren't legally entitled to that money. You were, however, morally entitled to that money, and stepdad can fuck off along with the horse he rode in on. Not the asshole. Cut her out of your life like the cancer she and her husband are. NC and walk away. That's some callous behavior on stepdad's part. Hopefully karma catches up to him in a drastic and life-altering manner. Not the asshole, but your stepsister is for asking, your stepfather is for giving it, and your mother is for allowing it. On the bright side, since they aren't contributing to your wedding, they aren't allowed any input for the plans. Definitely don't invite your stepfather or stepsister to the wedding. Personally, I wouldn't allow the mom either. Not the asshole. It sounds like your stepdad is feeling resentful, and maybe jealous, of your future in-laws. For what? Supporting and having pride in their kid. Petty parenting is bad parenting, and you shouldn't feel guilty for being the target of bad parenting. Also, congratulations. It sounds like you're joining a wonderful new family, and I hope you and your fiancé are able to celebrate that in a way that feels special and fun. Not the asshole. I'd only invite mom to the wedding, given your stepdad's comments. And if she doesn't come, I'll tell her it wasn't about the money, but she made it so. Stepdad lost his invite for being a rude asshole about the whole thing, not for the refusing of funds. Info. Did they have your mom and stepdad apologized at all as of yet? Not the asshole. I feel like that was technically your money since it was going to be given to you as a gift, and your parents are playing favorites. At the very least they should have talked to you about it beforehand. One should treat one's children fairly and be even-handed, particularly in situations with step-siblings and weddings. Of course you were going to be upset, but you may have been flexible due to the situation. No, you have no right to tell them how to spend their money, but you do have a right to be treated fairly and to be communicated with. Your mother seems to know this by her reaction, and is trying to protect her marriage, I think. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. How else did they expect you to feel? Each sibling was promised $10K, and did they think you'd be happy to hear that you were the one who wasn't going to get it? Not the asshole. They gave every sibling money except for you. Because they gave the money reserved for you to your stepsister, that makes them Oz. I think now you have to downsize your wedding, like there is no money for the stepsister and the stepfather at your wedding. Not the asshole, and I guarantee that your parents are aware they are playing favorites, they just don't care. Not the asshole. They clearly favor stepsister over you and you have every right to be angry and upset. I wouldn't invite stepsister or stepfather to the wedding as she is asking for your share of things and her dad is enabling her toxic behavior. I think we have an Am I the Asshole tropes bingo. Entitled, Spoiled Family Member Making Outrageous Request. History of Favoritism. Wedding planning. Step-sibling being chosen over bio child. Evil stepfather. Large amount of money being stolen from Op. All that's missing is vegans, evil in-laws, a huge age difference in a relationship, autism, pregnancy, uncontrollable children, forced babysitting, someone being called ungrateful, financial incompatibility, narcissism, an opposite gender best friend, and an inheritance. Not the asshole. My mom and stepdad have also sent me texts telling I have no right to be upset over what they chose to do with their money. Except it's not about the money. It's about showing that they favor your stepsister over you and have a track record of unapologetically giving you less to give her more. Not the asshole. Your stepdad sounds like an absolute ass. But info, is your fiancé from a filthy rich family that will throw money at the wedding? Not the asshole. Your stepfather is compounding his asshole behavior with every comment he makes. I would be petty as fuck and not invite him to your wedding. Not the asshole. You have every right to be mad. You were basically promised that money but they chose to give it to your stepsister. They are prioritizing your stepsister over you, and I don't recommend relying on them for anything in the future. Not the asshole, and those are two people you shouldn't allow anywhere near your wedding. Your stepdad is putting his daughter over the rest of you. Not the asshole. I agree with NC and no invite to your wedding. They doesn't deserve to be in your wedding. It's so embarrassing to have someone in family using, he rich so he pay, card. That's really a crappy attitude. Not the asshole. They promised you the money. If they had changed their mind they should have communicated that ahead of time. The fact that they hid it was wrong. Not the asshole. Aren't weddings supposed to be small ATM? It will probably have to all get cancelled again and this time she will have no one else to run to. Not the asshole, and the money is only the secondary issue. Your step-isna and your mom facilitated the wholeness. There was no reason, none, for them to take away the funds except that they value the stepsis over you. Full stop. Your stepsis may have requested the funds, the cow, but your parents gave it to her without much hesitation. The best you can do is take some time away. Speaking to either of them now would do more damage than good. I can't believe they are trying to justify their wholeness by saying your fiancé has money. Deflection much? Your parents are right, you should not get mad at them for spending their money as they wish. But in return they should also not get mad if you choose to spend your time and wedding with people who actually care for you and don't play favorites. Definitely not the asshole. Your mom and stepdad definitely are though. Not the asshole, but you mum and stepdad sure are. Not the asshole. It won't end. It will never end. Your mom wants to choose your stepdad and stepsister. She can keep them. Not the asshole. It's very clear your mother doesn't step up for you. Stepdad sees you as not his own. You're not family. His daughter comes first and your mother blindly followed. I would be upset. Don't talk to them. Your stepdad doesn't care and your mom didn't say anything to protect your funds. If this isn't the first time it's happened, it will happen again. Your mom should feel guilty. I sure would. Not the asshole. So your stepdad sees nothing wrong with reneging on promised funding to bail out his spoiled daughter. Again, because it wasn't your money yet, but he's treating your in-laws' theoretical contribution as a done deal. They were wrong. They know they were wrong. Simply acknowledging that fact and apologizing would cost them nothing, and they can't even do that much. Until they change their minds on that, they can sit in their wrongness while you figure out your next steps. NTA. Because they told you your whole life that it would be for your wedding. The fact that he stole from your college money to give to your deadbeat stepsis and now took your wedding fund to give to her as well speaks volumes. Don't invite any of them to your wedding. Your mom made her choice, now make yours. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And you must know full well that your stepdad would never have allowed your mom to give your stepsister's wedding fund to you instead. Consider the money the price you had to pay to see clearly where you rank in your mother's priorities and give her a similar ranking in return. Not the asshole. Sounds like this guy has it out for you. If it was promised, and if that needed to change, the discussion should have happened before the change. Not the asshole. I hope your stepsister gets divorced or runs out of funds again. Sad face. Not the asshole. Absolutely not. You were promised a certain amount of money for your wedding and they gave it away. Not cool. Going forward, cut contract with your stepsister. She asked them for your fund. Not help but literally to be given your wedding fund. Cut contract with your stepfather. He sounds toxic and like a gaslighter and just plain awful. And obviously must not be invited to your wedding. As for your mother, she knew he was doing this to you and stood by and left him. She didn't try and stop him or stand up for you. I am not going to tell you cut her from your life, but sit her down and make it clear if she wants to stay in your life it will be with conditions. The biggest being your stepfather is out of your life. She is not to bring him with her when visiting you, etc. Not the asshole. It's the principle of the thing. Clearly he favors the stepsister, who I assume is his biological daughter, and has little regard for you, since he's done this before. Frankly, I would keep your distance from him and your mom and stepsister. Not the asshole. Call your stepdad out on giving away parts of your college fund to her as well and then leave the situation. Not the asshole. From what I got from IR post, you don't care so much about the lonely but the horrid uneven treatment. Not the asshole. It was already promised to you and taken without discussing with you first. It's close to theft at this point. Not the asshole. They have done this to you before with the same stepsister. That is awful. They prioritize her over you and are just justifying their behavior. Not the asshole. Don't invite them to the wedding either. It doesn't matter if your fiancé can afford it. You were promised $10K. Everyone else got $10K. Spoiled cockwomble of a stepsister gets double because she demanded it. I'd be furious. Your stepdad would be uninvited purely for the comments regarding your FFIL. Not the asshole. And honestly, I would consider going NC or LC with them and maybe not even invite them to the wedding. They've shown you who they are and how they feel about you. If I were you, I would be most mad at my mother. Not the asshole. If you feel like talking to them again, claim that you had been budgeting the money in and have taken a few days to discuss losing it with your significant other and changing your ideas. It's a fair explanation for the silent treatment you've been rightly giving them. Then decide how you want to move on. Cut them out or forgive them, but don't make the mistake of thinking that they won't do it again. They've already done it twice, so it's obvious that you aren't a priority for either of them. Not the asshole. Just because your sister and her man don't have the drive to improve their income doesn't mean something that's been promised to you should be withdrawn regardless of your man's financial background. Not the asshole. They're being extremely shitty. If it had been established that everyone had these funds, they owed you a conversation at the very least. Not the asshole. Continue to go no contact. But make sure that your mother knows you aren't upset about the money. You are upset because your mother and stepfather made you a promise, and then broke their word. And that you are disappointed in them. Let them further know that moving forward, they will not be involved in the wedding planning process whatsoever. Don't make any immature statements like, stepsister is more important, or, you don't love me. Don't mention stepsister at all. This is 100% about your mom and stepfather making a promise and then breaking it. Focus on that. In the end, not having your stepfather pay a dime will be a good thing because he won't hold it over your head for the rest of your life. Which from the sounds of it, would be something he would do. Sit them both out of your life. That's ridiculous and you are underreacting to this, not overreacting. Not the asshole. It is their money but it was earmarked for your wedding and you've been made aware of this for a long time. You aren't being childish or petty for refusing to speak to your mother. They are assholes. Not the asshole. Do yourself a favor and remove step-dad from your life, and if your mother doesn't like that, maybe her too. Step-dad has obviously convinced your mother to put his daughter above you.